Greeting everyone. Thank you again for joining this webinar, and it's really a pleasure from Tanzania to be the Flying Lab that is opening these webinars for starting of this year 2021. I know we have went through a lot, and it's my belief you and your families are in a good health, and we're still keep praying for you to be safe regardless of your geographical area and the situation we are in. This is your colleague and your friend in hearts, Yusuf. And at the moment, I'm leading the trainings within the Tanzania Flying Labs. Together, let's a little bit see about the Tanzania Flying Labs. The Tanzania Flying Lab is one of the flying labs within the We Robotics Flying Labs network, and we have started long ago, and in our inauguration was almost from 2016, on the late 2016, and the first project which we started on that time, we had an earthquake in Bukoba area in Tanzania, and that's when the needs of opening the local labs so that we can be able to tackle these emergencies from the local perspective. And through in 2017, we continue to build capacity on the technology exchange from different partners, and also to keep up ourselves actually, so that we can take the knowledge and the technology and then learn how we can twist it, and then we should be able to transfer it first locally, but also to anyone in the world who in need of it. That's why we were regarded, and we are considered as a regional flying labs within the Eastern Central Africa and Southern Africa as well. The Tanzania Flying Lab, it's a fully entity, so it's a legal entity. We did our legalization in 2018, so we are a non-for-profit organization. And till then, we keep progressing toward a number of goals and objectives that actually we have kept to ourselves, and continue in promoting the Flying Labs network and making sure we can we are continuing in sharing the knowledge and the good practice regarding the uses of drones, but not just about the drones. Mostly we're focusing on the data derived from the drone to make sure they can bring a positive impact, not just in Tanzania, but also around the African country and other continents as well. Like other Flying Labs, our main goals, we always work hard in build capacity. And when we say we build capacity, we are building our own capacity as a team members, but we are also building capacity to other organizations around us. So we're building capacity to the youth, we're building capacity to the government and non-government organization towards many use cases, toward many applications where we believe drone can actually be used to enhance and to improve the effectiveness on the way people's doing work within their workflows. But we are also do our level best to try and build a number of use cases, because we know within these technologies, if there's no one who can say, okay, let me try this use case, for example, let me try to see how drone can help us in fighting malaria, how drone can help us in agriculture, how drone can help us maybe in conservation, how drone can help us in other sectors. No one will actually get a better understanding of what a drone and the drone data can actually do to their daily activities. So that we take that as an opportunity, and we are collaborating with many sectors, with many partners, with many departments, to make sure that we're getting the right things to be done in a right way. So once that use case is finished, and then we're giving people's efforts to work towards that usage, which we have already confirmed that yes, it is valuable and it is workable. We are also hosting an educational events, and these educational events, it's an online, and sometimes we're providing them as a physical. And the educational events, we can sometimes do some kind of an outreach to the schools, an outreach to other organizations, so that they can get, we can change their mindset. Because whenever you speak about this technology, you don't just have to take it and take granted to say everybody now understand the way you do. Some of them, they still need to be, you still need to do some kind of awareness campaign, showing them what is right, what is not right, and what is true and what is not true, to the extent of your knowledge. So we are handling these educational events where also other youth and other kids get an opportunity to see, and for them, we're kind of sparking their motivation toward the technology and toward their subjects. But we are also do an incubation. So we are trying whenever we want to, for instance, we have done an incubation program previously, but now we are starting thinking of having another incubation program where people, they can learn to use new drone, not just for mapping, but for other purposes. A number of projects has happened during this year, and they are all good projects, very marvelous, from conservation, from mapping, but because we know in Africa, agriculture take a large percentage of people's kind of their source of an incomes. Together with the company that we have incubated before and I grew for, we were able to provide an assistance on the getting the early warnings, getting the good practices on the agriculture, especially also by getting the early warnings to the vegetations. And for that, there are some areas in which people are doing kind of a trial on how people should do best practices on agriculture, which is in Kilimanjaro region. And there we have the Kilimanjaro Agricultural Development Project together with Kilimanjaro Agricultural Training Center, together with the Agri-Info. They're trying to find out what are the best practices, especially in maize agriculture, in rice paddies agricultures. And the benefits of this is also, it is to the Agricultural Development Project, in which they are working with community directly to make sure they're increasing their yield, they're increasing a good products outside of their harvesting. Just say a number of agricultural group practices are, but the objective actually is to try introducing and penetrating how technology can help them achieve their goals. And from here, you can see when it's come for the early warning perspective, we were able to provide a data set from different period of time, on the time of August 2020, but also on the time of September 2020. And from this data, what they're going to look, you can see there are some farms inside of these images. They're not growing well. And this is where they're learning about precision agriculture when it's time for them to prioritize the areas in which they should take into account whenever they are working on that farms. For example, when you have a yellowish area, we have a green, but also we have kind of a yellowish, they understand, oh, we have to take more concentration in this area. We need to understand what's going on. So for them as a community and as a CAD, they're getting an understanding that, oh, this is one way in which a drone data can help us. And it's not just about a drone, but the most important is actually about the data that we are working on. So that whenever now we have a farm officers, it will give them less effort when it's come to do surveying on these farms. They will be able to prioritize and even teach the community how to prioritize and making sure the area which have a problem, which showing the sign of a problems, it is taken into account at the first priority. areas. We know people were not able to travel along the world, but that didn't mean we didn't have to find a way to share our knowledge with the new people and to share our assistance and knowledge within the Flying Labs network. During this pandemic, we were able to initiate a number of online trainings and assistance, and we were able to train Evolve Vision Zimbabwe on the use of drone and the data, on that data analysis as well, even if they are remote, away from Tanzania. And also we include these trainings with Tanzanian youth, because as our goals is building capacity. So building capacity within our own environment, within our own country, and building capacity outside of the country. And also we have done a successful assistance to our brothers in Senegal and in Cote d'Ivoire toward their new fleet of the drone. So here, at least the pandemic taught us it's not like if we cannot travel, it doesn't mean we have to stop doing things. If we cannot meet each other, even if we are on the same geographical area, doesn't mean we have to stop doing things. We have to do things in a better way, in another way around. There are a number of things. A project that we did, they have been marvelous. But for us, we're taking as being able to conduct in a proper way, giving people assignment, having chat on them, taking their kind of minds and see the output of those training has really been the achievement. Now we have a better understanding on how we should conduct. What are the difficulties? What are the challenges, for instance, that people should take care before they are going to do an online training? And doing an assistance, sometimes you may feel it is not easy to assist somebody far away, even to fly its drone, but we were able to achieve that. So that is really a good achievement of ourselves. And there is a lot which we, in our mind, we are running in order for us within 2021 and the future. We are good in mapping perspective, but now we want to try a new site. We know the other Flying Labs are doing good in cargo drone. So now we are in initiating the cargo drone operation, because we have needs now within our country to make sure bloods are transferred and to make sure people are getting an important medicine and other goods, not just the medicine. So the cargo drone operation is our next step that we are working hard to make sure it's happening. But also we have done a spraying drone, but we did it on the health side when we tried to work with other partners to fight for malaria. But now we want to utilize it hardly as what our colleague is doing it in Cote d'Ivoire on the agriculture, like on the spraying pesticide to the vegetations. And we want to do this because we want to make sure other groups within the Tanzania, we're incubating them, and they are going to make it as their services in the near future. Continuing the capacity buildings, we have just on board actually our new interns, the data specialists and the new pilots, and we actually have embodied someone who is trying to build drones, who said, I want my drone to carry cargo. So you can imagine, once we set up this operation and we have these young people that's trying also to build something, they will get a big picture, having a better example of how the drone business and the drone creation is going on. But also we are lucky and we are happy that we were able to get a bottom-up project as well. So we are going to increase our youth program, and this time we are going to focus on the secondary cities, to the cities in which sometimes people forget that these people are existing, these kids are existing, and these are the new people who we want them to take a lead after us, and we don't want them to do like us, but we want them to do more than what we are doing. So these are kind of our future plans and project that we are working on, and some of them they're on the pipelines. Would you respect? I'm grateful for your time, and thank you so much for being here and for listening to a small moment that we share what we have been doing. And if you have anything that you want to ask, if you have anything that you want to get a consultance of, just get us on Twitter, and you can get us on the Facebook page, but also you can just email us directly through Tanzania at flyinglab.org. Thank you so much, and wishing you all the best. And still, I'm praying for you all to remain healthy, you yourself, your family, and your loved one. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon to you from Uganda Flying Labs. Thank you for joining the Power of the Locals webinar. My name is Tina Mutabasi, the coordinator of Uganda Flying Labs. We are based in Kampala. Just to take you through the outline of today, we're going to be talking about our Uganda Flying Labs and introduce you to the topic which is at heart today: why we do vulnerable community mapping, problem statement we found for the project, which I'm going to discuss about, objectives, and what exactly is Naki Valley Refugee Camp, what we have been doing there, solutions which we came up for Naki Valley Camp, questions and answers. Our vision as Uganda Flying Labs is improving livelihood through the deployment of local intelligence and robotic technology. Sorry. A little about Uganda Flying Labs. We are a mapping and data analytics knowledge hub that provide innovative solutions to Ugandan challenges through appropriate robotics. We spark innovation in the young generation, provide training, and we also have projects which we execute in transportation, utility services, humanitarian, public health, risk management, to name a few. Our key partner is Ratizo Spatial Tech Limited, which we call RST. Some of the projects we have done in the past to build the local skills have been with the Uganda Police, with UNHCR and Office of the Prime Minister. And the last one which we had was an online training with Uganda Electricity Transmission Board, which is one of our core clients in training. The purpose was to basically show them the risks that can be assessed using the application, the drones, in some case studies, as well as using PixBody for mapping, as well as the analysis. What they were focusing on in this training was transmission line inspection, substation inspection, and distribution of line inspection. Now, just to take you to the project which we were going to discuss more today, is about refugees. Why do we talk about refugees? Uganda is well known for hosting refugees. Now we have gone up the ladder to third highest refugee hosting country. As you can see on this chart, we used to be number 4, but we have increased since 2020. We've actually come to number 2. Now on Nakivani refugee settlement, which is on the southwest of Uganda, we have currently 119,587 refugees, which come from Congo, Burundi, Somalia, Rwanda, Ethiopia, Eritrea, to name a few. The land is one of the main issues refugees face when utilizing near the host communities. Why did we do vulnerable community mapping? Is one, we wanted to ensure that there is even distribution of land, decentralization of natural disasters and complex emergencies. Access to high quality, timely information is what was needed by the client. Critical preconditions for effective aid delivery. Respond adequately to crises if they arise in the refugee camps. Cover data gaps that emerge due to continuous influx of refugees. use geodata for decision making and action plan for development, as well as minimize disasters and risks. Let's talk about the risks. That is one of our problem statements. You know, when one is staying in a refugee camp, there tends to be quite a lot of contention in areas such as education. Some of the refugee children are dropouts or they just idle, so we want to make sure that education is well supported in refugee camps. Hence, to avoid it, we want to eliminate unwanted pregnancies, drug and alcohol abuse. Those are some of the risks. Security. There have been quite a number of conflicts between ethnic groups because some feel superior than others. Fire outbreaks, as well as some of the refugee camps have been originally reserves for animals, and some of the animals, such as elephants, continue trekking back to where they used to reside originally. So they attack the residents. Agriculture. We want to eliminate the issue of high dependence on handouts, give them best practices for agroeconomics, as well as improve on their food security. Water and sanitation is one of the major risks in refugee camps because of the crowds. They tend to have diseases such as which come from waterborne and contamination of the water, poor garbage disposal, land capacity between being exceeded, especially when the garbage is not continuously recycled. Long waits for domestic water and construction water on the queues, especially if it is tapped. In health, recently we have had COVID, the pandemic itself, it has had an impact on crowded refugee camps, and high mortality rate is well known in those areas. Shortage of critical medicine is one of the great risks. Now let's go to the objectives of this project, why we had to do it. We were working with the American Refugee Council, which is now called, okay, I've just forgotten the name. And the purpose of this was to ensure that they can expand on schools, create more reception areas, infrastructure projects, plan for the future, and we're also mapping the existing settlements to see if we can do anything better to that. Beyond using the drones, we also got this data which became useful. We identified the types of roads that are in the camp, standard medical facilities, identified landfills, water points, reception areas, land for relocating refugees, making relocation studies on resources against population in the villages, as well as responding to COVID-19. So the data was not basically for the first objectives, it actually became an added value after the collection and the key objectives. The scope of our project was basically capturing images in 12 different grounds, that is the base camps where people are stationed. This ran for 3 days. The methodology was we used a workflow of overlapping images in order for us to come with an auto mosaic, and which was stitched after the capture. Our main product was contours and DSM, which helped us to learn about the shape of the land and understand the contours because we wanted to know where the hilly areas are in order for us to build, in order for the client to build the schools and other facilities that are needed in areas that are accessible. Also, the auto mosaic helped us to have a better understanding of the land use and land cover changes that have been taking place throughout the past years. There was also a need for us to understand how best we can do infrastructural planning. DSM was used for risk analysis within the settlements as well. Our solutions. Out of this, we felt that there was a need to relocate some of the population and decongest villages to avoid COVID-19 spread in the last quarter, the second last quarter of the year, the data was used. In the markets, there was quite a lot of congestion. There was also a need for people to be educated about SOPs of social distancing and also implementing some of the SOPs like washing hands, using potable water, points in different places where they did not have access, because we had the data which showed where there had been installations of water in the past. There was also a need for us to expand the reception areas where refugees usually are converged on their arrival. Construction of schools is going to be underway soon, and there was a need for response with the data to see the most accessible roads for ambulances if there was a need to evacuate any patients. What is Uganda Flying Labs planning to do? In the near future, we want to intensify on STEM projects, help robotics, collaborate with universities in projects and innovations, which is what we are already doing with Makerere University. We have a cattle project, which we have just started in the cattle corridor. We want to assess the trafficking of cattle as well as the disease prevalence in cattle. We're going to be expanding on our training contents in piloting, and we hope to partner with more software developers. Thank you very much for your time and giving me the opportunity to share about Uganda Flying Labs and what we are doing.
Hello, this is Juan Bergelum from Peru. It's hard to say good morning, good afternoon, or good night. It depends where you are, but it is a pleasure for me to present the activities of our Flying Labs, all the way from Peru. Here is my coordinates. If you want to reach me anytime, I'll be more than happy. That's my email. Basically, we were one of the early Flying Labs. We're very proud about that. We did several work in the jungle, and basically, as you can read it there, we are very consequent with the mission of all the Flying Labs around the world. And in our case, we place a little bit emphasis on the synergy with local business, because we are a combination of the Flying Labs with our sister company, UAV del Peru, that you will see along the way. We both work very close, and sometimes very difficult to identify which one is what, but we 90% of the people who belongs to one belongs to the other one. So this is how we operate, and this is how be able to sustain our ecosystem that you know is a challenging to sustain operations. And then who we are, you know, that's me on the left, an old guy. And then the most important part is our people that works on Flying Labs and UAV del Peru. We have people from different shapes and forms, and so we try to have a big scope of all the reality on Peru. Diverse is one of our main goals in the company. As you can see, you can find ugly and old people like me, and cute and not so cute, and a woman, young. So I mean, the diversity is, but it's not only that part of diversity. The diversity goes all the way through the technical expertise of each one of our people, which is what we are more proud of. What we accomplished in the 2020 is we worked very hard to be at the high level, and then we were able to certify on these international standards, 9,001 to quality, 4,001 for people, and 4,001 for certification of the environment. So, and then as I mentioned, well, we form a very team of diverse professionals, and we are proud of it. Another thing is we like new technology, and this year we're able to commit and make a significant investment to have the LiDAR technology on board. And then that's what we are working on. And we just found out that that even is a high price, but the more important part is the knowledge of which one of the people need to have with this technology. So it's as important as the technology itself. Another thing that we did is we helped the government, to identify the main areas of deforestation and illegal mining that, as you may know, is really a big challenge for several countries, I would say several continents around the world. And also we work very close with the government to identify what are the possibilities and the realistic use of drones. Because as also we robotics were preaching, we cannot use, we cannot put expectations, unrealistic expectations on how the drones can help on the COVID-19. And also it is important for us that we keep a high level of safety and we, with that awareness, we're able to, in a very good way, to be able to accomplish our main goal, to have 0% of accidents around the year. We have a little incident, but basically 0% of accidents. And as I mentioned, our main project was to helping the government or identify what are the real uses of COVID-19. You may read it from there, but basically, resuming is a briefing on this one, is that basically we identify, the density of the people on the street, and then they help, this information help the government to identify how effective is the quarantine when they apply. And basically, this is how we operate. You can see there, we use for this long range, because we flew all over the capital city, which is about, from 30 kilometers from point to point, with these fixed wing drones monitoring the activities on the city. We have all the permits, and then we're able to fly. I'm going to show you here this video for you to understand how we did it. So basically from that flights, you can see here, these are the pictures, and then we use these new tools that also We Robotic is promoting, machine learning, to identify the objects on the field. Here is also identify the density of these trucks and these objects. And also another thing that we did is with the government, as you can see there, is we did several search and rescue operations, and also we operate with the government to identify deforestation and illegal mining. If you guys are worried about illegal mining, you need to be worried, because actually, if you compare illegal mining to deforestation, deforestation is a 50-year-old problem, and illegal mining could be several hundred years because of the use of those chemicals on the floor. And these are the workshops that we did. We did several workshops in the Latin American region, and then we are spreading the word about our participation. And then, as we said, the main achievement is we help the government to identify the realistic use of the drone technology in the COVID-19 pandemic. Actually, for your information, in 2 days here in Peru, because of the second wave, we're going to start a full quarantine again for 15 days. So nobody were able to do anything except 1 hour a day to go and take some air on the street, no more than 1 kilometer from their home. But we'll start that one in 15 days. And also, as I mentioned, high level of safety is very important for us in all our operations. What are we going to do in the future? Of course, we're going to have fun. We are exploring, and actually we step forward to practice and doing these drone shows, how to use swarm, because I think more than just a show, it will be a significant use of swarm drones. And then also we are collaborating with the most prestigious technical university in Peru, and we're going to do a couple of workshops, one for the little boys and girls, and one specifically dedicated for women in science. So we're going to teach them or show them the practical uses of this new technology. That's all I have to say at this time. I'll be more than happy to respond any question if there is any. Thank you very much for your attention, and it's been a pleasure explaining you what we did here in Peru. That for all of you, you are very welcome anytime after this pandemic activity will allow us. Thank you very much again. Bye.